It said something else there.
Intoxication.
Intoxication, yeah. Which, of course, you can say also to eat meat is also intoxicating in many ways. Prabhupada said actually, if you eat meat, then you also have to drink some alcohol, because it tastes so horrible that you have to kind of intoxicate yourself in order to survive with it. So, and then the next, what's the last one? Truthfulness. And that is destroyed by
lying propaganda.
Lying propaganda. Yeah, that's what Prabhupada. Lying propaganda. That's the only leg we have left in Kali. So lying propaganda, when we preach, we have to be aware of this. No lying propaganda. We cannot say, oh yeah, I'm coming from Food for Life, and we're doing this and this, and we're a charitable organization. We're serving food to the homeless, and then we do some yoga and take this book. It's about yoga and how to have a nice healthy body, and then at the same time you support us for helping the homeless people with food. No, that's lying propaganda. It's not pleasing to Prabhupada. It's definitely not pleasing to our own spiritual master. And what to speak of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Often we forget this, and it's connected with pride, because we want to have nice results, maybe on our distribution. But this is totally fruitive mentality. You think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cares if I sold 100 books instead of 20? You think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cares? Actually, we also need sometimes to think, who is actually started this whole thing. You think he was in the mood? Somebody came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and I was selling so much. Of course, he likes you were out preaching. That he likes, but do you think he really cares about the number? I'm not so sure about that. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was just totally absorbed in the transcendental bliss of chanting Hare Krishna. You never actually. This is also Manda Prabhu. He explained yesterday. There was never any kind of big management for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Somebody has to go out and buy the boga, and somebody has to do this. And no, they were just all flowing in transcendental bliss. Of course, it shouldn't be imitated. So maybe we also have to have. We definitely need to have a good deal of management on the material plane, but still, maybe it's sometimes helpful also to think actually. Is it pleasing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because in the very end of the day, if it really didn't somehow or other please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it's really not pleasing our spiritual master also, or Prabhupada for that matter. Because they're totally in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually. So somehow or other we just have to try and get into that mood. And not be so materialistic in our mentality. It takes some time to get out of this, because it's just the way we're brought up, and it's the way it's the whole way we are accustomed to think. But spiritual life is of course something totally different. So that's why we also need to take protection, so we don't get into all this. Because it creeps in all the time, this kind of materialistic tendencies. Even though we endeavor very hard, and Maya is standing really very, very nearby. Nikatasta Mayatari Japatiyadari, she's standing just by the side. And immediately she's ready to slap us down by giving us some karma ashayam, so some desire for something material. Lord Dattatreya, he's the master of all mystic power. He said here, may Lord Dattatreya, the master of all mystic power, protect me from falling while performing bhakti yoga. So the danger of falling while performing bhakti yoga is very big. So Kapila Dev is also helpful in that connection. We have Lord Kapila explaining in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, explaining the process of devotional service. Very, very scientifically, and especially one part which is famous and very much used by devotees in that regard is when he explains the 3 different levels of devotees. He explains the Kanishtadikari, the Madhyamadikari, and the Uttamadikari. And then the next verse Actually, I can read the next verse also. Sanat Kumaru Avatu Kama Devad Daya Shirshamam Patideva Heranat Devar Shivarya Purusha Chanantarat Kurmo Harimam Niraya Dasheshat. May Sanat Kumara protect me from lusty desires. As I begin some auspicious activity, may Lord Hayagriv protect me from being an offender by neglecting to offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord. May Devarsi Narad protect me from committing offenses in worshipping the deity. And may Lord Kurma, the tortoise, protect me from falling to the unlimited hellish planets. Purport. Lusty desires are very strong in everyone, and they are the greatest impediment to the discharge of devotional service. Therefore, those who are very much influenced by lusty desires are advised to take shelter of Sanat Kumara, the great brahmachari devotee. Narad Muni, who is the guide for Archan, is the author of the Narad Pancharatra, which prescribes the regulative principles of worshipping the deity. Everyone engaged in deity worship, whether at home or in the temple, should always seek the mercy of Devarsi Narad in order to avoid the 32 offenses while worshipping the deity. These offenses in deity worship are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So Sanat Kumara is one of the 4 Kumaras. They're the first born sons of Brahma. Brahma, he got the order from Vishnu to populate the universe. And the Sanat Kumaras, they disobeyed. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to remain brahmachari. So by the strong determination, they had the power to not grow anymore. So they are just staying in the age of 4 or 5 years old. So they're innocent like this. And actually it's said about us also, when we are supposed to be brahmachari, we have to also be innocent, just like the 4 Kumaras. We have to actually be childlike in our innocence. This is a great challenge. It means this kind of big, you can say, male ego, it cannot be exercised so much maybe if we're going to be brahmacharis. Of course, it's unavoidable that we act like men like this, but internally we should actually feel like innocent children. Being protected by we view, that all the feminine energies are actually motherly. It takes a shift in consciousness. A gradual shift has to take place. The feminine energy is no longer meant for brahmachari's enjoyment, the man's enjoyment. If you view yourself as man, then we view ourselves as purush, then the prakriti is immediately there for our enjoyment. This is just how it works. Purush, he can't exist without enjoying prakriti. And prakriti is immediately available for serving the purush. And at the same time, then the prakriti is also protected by purush. This is a part of the contract, so to speak. So if we're going to enjoy matter, then we have to also protect matter, so to speak. So we have to get married to the wife and protect the wife. So that means also give the facilities to the wife. This kind of role has to be played if you're going to be married. So that makes also a kind of difficulty, because the living entity per nature is actually prakriti. So he has to play then the role of the maid properly. So that means he has to give up also. Well, there is some kind of compromise somewhere. One has to then play actually quite a strong man if one is going to be a married man. He has to actually take the role of the Purusha actually. But he, even though it's just like a play, because later on he has to also give up the whole marriage idea before he leaves. Going back to God, he has to think, I'm not a man. He has to think I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. So it creates, well, it's a challenge. So that's why it said also that to just remain brahmachari is the most easy thing. But then it takes that actually we stop thinking about the women as something enjoyable, and it includes all the material energies are per nature feminine. That's you can say, the problem. So that means the objects for tasting with the tongue, it's also feminine. So you have to stop that concept also, that these things for tasting, it's supposed to be for my enjoyment. No. Then I think I'm the purush. And that leads gradually to the gross thing, that one wants to enjoy also woman. It's just the way it is. I cannot think, I like eating a lot, but I don't like women. No, it's connected. We have to understand this. Otherwise we will not survive as brahmachari. And also I like to see so many nice forms, like Madhya so nicely said in one class. He said, there is no brahmachari artist, a person who is really artistic, likes painting. So that's nice, and it's proper, but it's usually a married person, because it's like you like form and like this, you enjoy it, you know. Then one also likes the form of woman. You cannot say like I like all the forms, but the woman form I don't like. No, because the woman form is also, materially speaking, is beautiful. Like this, from a material point of view, there is a whole art actually in the Vedas. What's actually considered beauty? It's actually its own scriptures. It's how to construct the sculpture of the deity. It's like, you know, it is symmetrical, and then it's also the round form is like this, and it's like how the eyes are standing in comparison to the nose and the mouth. It's like this golden line, I think it's called. It's actually a concept of how things are looking beautiful. And it is actually like this. So if something is shaped like beautiful in the material world, and then it is beautiful. It is beautiful per definition. So if I like material beauty, I will also like that beauty. And the more you meditate on material beauty, the more one becomes enamored by it. One wants to possess it. So that means one has to get married like this. So also a brahmachari has to actually be, you know, quite callous in front of material beauty. Just think, yeah, it's nice, but Krishna is actually the original source of all the beauty, and he's actually my meditation inside. And this is all just coming and going beauty. I know this beauty will deteriorate. It said this is also brings in Lord Kapila. He says that to be actually spiritualist, we have to always view with intelligence. We cannot just view with the mind what's going on in the world. It's the same with taste and also the sensation here. If I'm too attached to having nice and warm weather, or I like to sit inside and nice and warm, and somebody is opening up the door and I'm totally distressed now. No, I cannot get too much into this also. Maybe, you know, a little bit, I don't want to get totally sick because then I can't do service, but to really get agitated by all these things, it also is actually, you know, a connection with I want to enjoy the touch, the air, I want to enjoy them. So these are all, and it becomes more and more subtle, and then you come to the sound. Now it's becoming more subtle, you see, because now it's like, I like to hear nice sound. I like, the kirtan should be nice and melodious, and if not, then if I get agitated, you know, and then also I'm on the wrong path. Of course, we want to have nice, everything should be a nice best with form and touch and sound and smell and taste for Krishna. But for my personal self, I should actually tolerate and be austere. And immediately, if I'm getting agitated like this, I should understand it's probably because I have some attachment to this. And if that attachment is too strong, then usually a person can tolerate being in the brahmacharya, I mean to live in the temple. Because he wants things to be more proper, materially speaking. And he can maybe be able to arrange that much more nice for the senses. Just living with a wife in his own home, they can nicely decorate at home, you know, everything is nice, food is always nice, sound is always nice, it's nice music being played, you know, not too hot, not too cold, so it's kind of nice for the sense, and then that person will feel happy. But it's a compromise with the material entity. To be a brahmachari, one has to tolerate the hardships of material. One has to tolerate heat and cold, good taste, bad sound, good sound, all these things, because it all goes back to the mind. The mind has to actually become Krishna Eka, Manasa Krishna Eka Grayaha. Something that one has to just grasp Krishna in the mind. It should only be Krishna there. The mind has said in Ayurveda also that the nature of the mind is unity. The mind just has to get free from all these dualities and become stable on Krishna. So whatever happens materially, the brahmachari, we have to get to that point where it's just Hare Krishna. We get our taste, we get our touch sensation, we get our nice form impression, the nice sound, everything we just get from Hare Krishna mantra. And that's our only source of enjoyment as brahmacharis. Just this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, There cannot be any other source for our enjoyment. Of course, we're not there yet, but we have to. That is the path. We cannot have that path, and it becomes too much for us. That all the material circumstances is too much, and we freak out totally. Then we have to get more serious in the chanting and try and get the taste in the chanting. We have to really surrender to the chanting. And somewhere or other, if we really pray to really surrender, we'll get our taste there and we'll become satisfied there. That's also the Varshanara's instruction. That Doyaya Sarva Bhuteshu, to please the Lord, one should first of all have mercy. One should be merciful to all the living entities who are totally into the dualities of material life. They love material sound, the low material form, the low material taste. They're totally into it, and if it doesn't satisfy them, they get frustrated. So in that way, they're always up and down, and they're suffering like anything. And they're getting beaten by demigods because the demigods are not happy when they are interested in devotional service. And all the time getting chastised by the demigods, and the demons are all the time tormenting them. They don't get any protection because they don't seek protection. If they just seek the little protection, even from material demigods, they will get somewhat protected, but they don't because they're total asuras. So that's why they're suffering like anything. So as devotees, we should take mercy on them and forget our own so-called problems. If you do that, we please Lord Krishna. And then it says also santushta, and also a devotee should be just satisfied somewhere or another. So, and then just be a good friend to all living entities. And then, the last thing is control the senses. So these three things Narayana Muni says, if you do that, then we make Krishna happy. So, and then you have the Dita worship is mentioned here, and that's the perfect regulation for at the same time satisfying our sense enjoyment, while gradually realizing that actually sense enjoyment is not really the thing. Because when doing Dita worship, we have to sacrifice the sense enjoyment. Because now suddenly it's Dita's sense enjoyment which is there. So, we have to compromise our own sense enjoyment for satisfying the senses of the deities. This is what we will experience. In the beginning, we may think that we will just enjoy the opulence of the deities, the nice prasadam, but actually we will enjoy it, but we have to sacrifice a lot of our own enjoyment in the process. So that in the end also we will get spiritual enlightenment, so that we understand that actually this kind of enjoyment is just like broken pieces of glass, as Dhruva Maharaj said. He wanted the whole kingdom. But when he did austerities, like anything, Dhruva Maharaj, he was a perfect example of brahmacharya doing so heavy austerity. And in the end, by this austerity, he becomes so pure, he could have the vision of the Lord, and when he saw the beautiful form of the Lord, he said that these material desires, I wanted to enjoy the opulence of the huge king, it was just like broken pieces of glass in comparison. So by Dita worship, we're supposed to come to that plane. Okay, so thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namo